Bowtie Guy 85 here, and today I would like to talk to you about Casual Fridays, its origins, and how it has evolved over the years into today's times. Let's get started. So, amongst my channel and my friends and just people I associate with in general, I have had a lot of people over the years ask me about Casual Fridays, where they began and how it got started and how it's morphed into the casual office place that we know nowadays. So I thought I would take some time to discuss that with you guys. And to do so, I would like to start at the beginning. The year is 1966, Honolulu, Hawaii. There is a man by the name of Mufi Hanneman. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly or not. He was the former mayor of Honolulu at the time. He was also a collector and seller of what was known at the time as Aloha shirts, or what you would know today as Hawaiian shirts. And it started out as a marketing ploy to sell more shirts. And it sort of turned into a cultural statement. He thought, why not make Fridays, why not make the weekends more casual? Allow people to wear these shirts to work, get away from the suit and tie. The other thing to be said about Hawaii, it's a much warmer climate. It's very humid there. So it's kind of a nice appeal to the people to be able to dress down a little bit, not be so stuffy and so dressed up in these warm outfits. This took on pretty well, actually, but it mostly stayed within the island itself. And at the time it was known as Aloha Fridays, in reference to the Aloha shirt. Now the thing about this is it remained popular in Hawaii for like decades, but it really wasn't until the late 70s, the early 80s that it found its way into the mainland, mostly along the west coast, like California. You started noticing a little bit there, but not as much. But it really wasn't until the early 90s that Casual Fridays really took off. And at this time, you had your Wall Streets, and everything was big business and tall office buildings, and everybody dressed a certain way. It was a lot more formal than you'll see nowadays. A very big contrast. All men wore coats and ties, usually nested suits. They even accessorized a lot more. So it was very much a formal office place, and there wasn't so much a stigmata at the time with having to dress up for work, and men were less tasked with doing so and kind of took pride in their appearance, and I don't know, saw it as like a symbol of status that you had that kind of job, that you dressed. It kind of meant something. And this began to shift around 1992. And this is because of a man named Rick Miller. My apologies. He was public relations head for the Dockers brand, which is a subsidiary of Levi's. And again, like with the Aloha shirt, this was a marketing ploy to sell more pants. He wanted to move the Docker from the golf courses and the tennis courts and move it to the office place. So he put together this 8-page brochure called A Casual Guide to Business Wear and sent it to 25,000 human resource managers across the country. It demonstrated different business casual looks. It showed different things you could do with the Dockers, pairing it with a button down and a blazer to do a more casual look, wearing polos and jackets with it, pairing sweaters and ties and different things, and really showing its versatility. And also different kinds of socks and shoes, loafers, showing different breaks on the pant of the leg. Very detailed, very detailed brochure. And kind of a revolutionary move from the status quo. And this was very trailblazing at the time, because like I said, offices were very formal and everything was very conservative and very so-so. So to suggest this kind of idea was very bold at the time, but it was a gamble that indeed paid off. Sales for the Docker skyrocketed, and you started noticing more men wearing dress-down looks in the office place. Now this wasn't necessarily a casual Friday of sorts, but more an allowance to wear different styles of dress. Men were still wearing coats, ties, things like that, but they were incorporating more like mixing and matching options. And the casual Friday kind of took its form from there. Offices would kind of remain buttoned up during the week, and towards the end of the week is when they would allow more relaxed styles and things like that. You know, we don't need to be so serious towards the end of the week. And the thing about that is, while its beginnings are kind of initiated as a harmless marketing ploy, it's kind of unleashed something that has morphed into the casual office place of today's times, which I feel there really isn't much of a return from. I know where I work downtown, especially within the last 5-6 years, and I don't know about you guys watching what it's like around your area. I'm here in Cincinnati, and I notice a lot less suited people walking to and from work. It's kind of declined over the years, and I just feel like it's moving to a different direction, and things like that. Other things that attribute it to this, there was a recession in the late 80s, early 90s. So, you know, suits and ties. Outfitting a business dress wardrobe is not cheap. I make it look easy, but I'm very good with my money, and I'm good at maximizing sales and adding longevity to what I have. This suit here is a little over 10 years old. So, you know, that's where I really shine. But, you know, the Docker is like 1/3 of the price of even like your cheapest suit. And, you know, you buy a few casual button-down shirts, throw on some Dockers, you've got a whole bunch of looks there. You can take one suit jacket and just put a whole lot of things together. So it's economical in a sense. I think that appealed to a lot of guys as well. Of course, you do have the men who are bothered to dress up, so a more casual style is going to appeal to them as well. Of course, by the late 90s, it started to grow into more days. So your Fridays became Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. At the turn of the century, you know, there was the big tech boom, and, you know, a lot of these young guys, you know, they're getting out of college, they don't want to dress for a living. They have all these student loans and what have you, and they want to take what they have and transition into the workplace. So you have a lot of like IT guys that are dressed down, different kind of jobs involving computers, different things like that, where the workforce kind of set their own dress code. They kind of took what was already going on in the office places and kind of ran with it and kind of dipped their hands into it and kind of made it their own. So that's part of it as well. Throughout the 2000s and into the late 2000s, it's kind of become normal that every office place is kind of casual every day now. It's not much just casual Fridays, but it's every day. And then kind of lowering the bar of what's dressed up. So now, back in the 70s, 80s, what even before then, you know, what a suit and tie was in the office place is now maybe just a shirt and tie, or a dress shirt and dress pants. And then Casual Friday rolls around, and we go even further down the spectrum to maybe jeans and a polo, or something, or just polo and khaki, something, you know, even less dressy than, you know, the shirt and tie or just the dress shirt and dress pants. And I feel like it's continuing to go down. We're going to get to the point someday where there's bankers up in Wall Street wearing jeans and t-shirts on Monday, and to me that's just, I don't know, that gets under my skin. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like it's a slippery slope. In the span of almost 20 years, we've gone from allowing people to dress down their looks at the end of the week to very dressed down every day of the week, and then dressing down even further at the end of the week. And before you know it, it's jeans on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it's jeans every other week. So I feel like not all hope is lost. I mean, there's some offices that are still pretty dressy. I'm lucky, you know, where I work allows me to express myself the way that I feel appropriate, and there's career fields like accounting and lawyers and things like that, bankers that are probably going to remain a certain way, but a lot of offices have really gotten away from casual. And there's a lot of it is kind of like stereotypes of society. I feel like a lot of men, they dress down because they're expected to, like, well, everyone else is doing it. And I know this sounds corny, but it's like, you know, what if they all jumped off a bridge? I know. I'm sorry. But, no, it's like, you know, there's some men that maybe wouldn't mind dressing up a little more for work, but they feel like they can't because their colleagues are dressing down. Well, you know, I say be the voice. You want to wear a nicer shirt and a nicer pair of pants to work, do it. Who cares what anyone else says? You do it for a little while and maybe it starts to catch on. Maybe it spreads. You know, habits have a way of spreading quickly in the workplace. Good and bad habits. You have people dressing down, it's going to morph. You have people who are lethargic and procrastinate, that's going to spread as well. You have somebody that comes into work on time every day, looks their best, puts in an honest day's work, that's going to spread as well. So, you know, there's that. And there's a lot of different options for dress wear these days, and it's not everything has to be expensive. There's lots of different options and different mixing and matching you can do. And sometimes even just fit and execution and wearing quality pieces can make a big difference. Even if you're not wearing a suit and tie every day, if you have an office place that's more middle of the road, just paying attention to those things can make a big difference as well. And even if you encourage others to pay attention to that as well, I mean, that's huge. So, those are just my thoughts on Casual Fridays. I hope you guys have found this video informative. If so, always be sure to hit and like at the bottom of the page. I'm also curious to hear from you guys, your thoughts on Casual Fridays. And as always, this is Bowtie Guy 85 signing off.